Okay, we are going to give everyone just a couple of seconds to get in, get adjusted. Hope everyone's having a great day today. My name is Ashley. Today we are going to be doing watercolor leaves, which is super exciting. I love fall and I love fall leaves, so this is a really fun craft to do just to kind of get some fun decorations for the house, for your room. We're going to wait just a couple more minutes. While we're waiting, I'm going to give you just some heads up for the craft. If you go into your chat box down at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a link to the project. That is where you can reference the supply list, the directions for everything that we're doing today. It's also going to have a link to the template that we are going to be referencing when we cut out our paper. If you do not have access to a printer, that is a-okay, because I will walk you through how to do it from a freehand perspective as well. And then the link also is available for you after this class is over in case you want to go back and do this again or rewatch this webinar, anything like that. If you have any questions during the class, you can type it into the Q&A section, which is also down at the bottom of your screen. And we have a moderator who will help relay your questions to me so I can interact with you guys. Please feel free to tell us, what you're doing. If you have any questions, if you want me to go slower, if you want me to repeat a step, I'm happy to do all that for you as well. All right, so it is 3:02, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to walk you through all of the ingredients or the supplies that we need to do this craft today. All right, so here is a couple of finished examples of the projects that we are going to do. These are ones that I did earlier today, so we are going to be doing something very similar. In order to do this, we need a couple of things. First, because we are working with paints, I would recommend that you have some surface that you don't mind getting paint on, or that your mom or dad or whomever doesn't mind getting paint on. This is a tablecloth that washes off pretty easily, so that's fine. I might also recommend newspaper or a towel or an old t-shirt, something like that. I also like using a paper plate just to kind of contain the mess as we do all of our painting today. Additionally, you are going to want some sort of paper. I have this watercolor pad, so this is paper that is good for doing watercolor, but any type of white paper is going to be just fine, whether it's printer paper, if you have manila paper, construction paper, any type of paper should be good for the watercolors. We will also be using watercolors today. If you do not have watercolors, really any type of paint will work because we can use the water to mix it and get it to that consistency that we're looking for the craft. So please do have a cup of water as well on hand. I have a couple of paintbrushes that we'll be using. We're also going to be using crayons today as well. I would recommend having a pencil. We also need some sort of glue or tape. I'm using a glue stick that seems to work best for this, but if you just have regular Elmer's glue, or if you have double stick tape or just regular tape, we can make that work. I would also recommend having a ruler available. If you don't have a ruler, any form of straight edge will be fine. So the edge of a magazine, the edge of a book, something like that. And just as long as you're able to get that nice straight edge. We will also be using scissors today. So please make sure that you have permission from your parent or guardian before you use scissors. And then we have these pipe cleaners or chenille stems. These are some nice fall colors that I picked out, but any pipe cleaners will work. If you don't have pipe cleaners, really anything that you want to use for the stem of your leaf. So it can be string, it can be ribbon. If you have twisty ties or sandwich ties, those will work just fine as well. It's really just to hold for the leaf itself. And then finally, as I mentioned before, we will be utilizing a template today. This should be available on the link that's in the chat. If you were not able to print this out in advance, do not worry. I will be walking you through how to do it freehand as well. So it's not absolutely required, but if you already have it, it will make your life a lot easier as well. All right, do we have any questions about the supplies that are needed? Does anyone need me to go over them again?
Of what to use if they do not have a paper plate. What would you recommend?
So the paper plate is purely optional. This is just what I have in order to keep all of the mess kind of in one place. But again, you can use any type of plate, newspaper. You can use, sometimes I let my kids use like a baking tray as well, just to keep everything off the table. Or if your parents are fine with you just doing it straight on whatever surface you're on, that's fine as well. A towel works, a paper towel, anything like that will be fine. Any other questions, Lindsay?
Nope. I will drop the link to the template again, and Ashley's also going to show how to draw it freehand.
Yep. All right. So the first step that we're going to be doing is we're going to take a piece of paper. So I'm going to pull one out of here. We will actually need 2 pieces of papers if you want to do both types of leaves today, because I'm going to show you how to do both. So I'm just going to take 2 pieces of paper out. And the first step that we want to do is we want to fold these in half long, fat ways. I think when I was in school, we called this folding it like a hamburger, not like a hot dog. So we're going to fold it along the middle. Give it a good crease. You can also press it on the table to give it a good crease as well. I'm going to move the paper plate out of the way so you guys can see this a little better for this part. And then I'm going to turn this so that the crease is here and that the paper opens on this side. So first we're going to do the round leaf. So what will ultimately look like this when we're done. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to take my ruler. Again, if you don't have a ruler, you can use any sort of straight edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the ruler and match it up from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner. Again, make sure that your fold is on this side, not on this side. And I'm going to just draw a line with my pencil all the way down. I'll hold that up a little bit closer so you guys can see it. So again, diagonal line from the top left down to the bottom right. Here's where the fold is. It opens up like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and again, please ask permission or have a grown-up help you with this part. And I'm just going to cut along the line. Now I'm cutting through both sides of the paper. So that when I'm finished, you can move these to the side, I should have, when I open it up, a triangle. Any questions so far on this process? Does anyone need to see this again?
We do have a question on, does it matter what size the paper is?
It doesn't. It's just going to change how big your leaves are. So bigger is a little bit better just because we are going to be folding it. So if it's bigger, you have more folds that you can do. If you have smaller size paper, then you're just going to want to make your fold smaller when we get to that part. Okay?
No more questions right now.
Perfect. All right. So we're just going to set this aside for 1 second, and we're going to go and do the template for the other one. So step 1 on this one is the same. We're going to fold it to make it kind of like a fat book. Fold it hamburger style. And then I'm going to make this nice crease here. Again, this is where my fold is. It opens up this way. I'm going to do this a couple of different times just so that if you don't have the template, you'll see how we get it. So if you do have the template, and this is a little hard to see, so I apologize, you're going to put it so that this side lines up with the fold. And then you'll just trace along the template. It's gonna kind of look like a Christmas tree when we're finished. So when we're finished, this is what it should look like. Again, fold on this side, it opens up here. And now I'm going to just do it on the other side to show you how to do it if you do not have the template. So if you don't have the template, again, you're going to take your straight edge or your ruler, and you're going to start in this top left corner. And we want to come diagonal only about halfway to the middle of the page. And I'm going to stop. So it looks just like that. And then I'm going to come back on the diagonal again, only about halfway, so about right here. See that? And then with my next one, I'm going to come out a little bit further. Not all the way to the edge, but about 3/4 of the way across the page. And then again, come back. So that you have a little bit more of a crooked line. And then with my last one, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to connect it to that bottom corner. So here's what that looks like when we're done. Again, it kind of looks like the side of a Christmas tree. All right, and then same as we did with the other piece of paper, we're going to cut that out. We don't need these scraps, so they can go in a trash pile or recycling. So that when we open this up, it looks kind of like a Christmas tree. So we have this one, and then if you're doing the round leaf, you have this one. All right. I'm going to go back to our triangle because I'm going to show you kind of the basic steps of what we're going to do. So we open it up flat, and then you're going to take a crayon. The instructions say green or brown. You can really choose any color, but this is basically going to be the veins of the leaf. So when you take a look at a leaf, it's those little marks inside the leaf, and that's what we're getting ready to draw. So for this one, I'm going to do green. And what we're doing is we're going to be creating some horizontal lines across our templates that we just cut out. And we're going to do them in about inch increments. Again, if you don't have a ruler, a good rule of thumb is an inch is about the length between this knuckle and this knuckle on your finger. So you can just measure that way. I can take it, I can measure it. And then I'm going to draw across with my green crayon all the way across like that. And then I'm going to take another inch and I'm going to draw all the way across. And I'm going to do this all the way up my paper. If you are using smaller paper, this is where you want to do less than an inch between each line so that you can really maximize the number of folds that you get when we go to the folding. Okay, so when you are finished, you're going to have a piece of paper that has some really nice horizontal lines like that. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to color in the veins and we're going to make a pattern with lines. Again, if you look at the template, which is shared in the chat, you'll see an example of this in the right-hand side of the template. This is just a guide for you. But what we're going to do is we're just going to make some straight lines in alternating directions along the crease that we did. So here you can see where my crease is, and my lines almost look like mirror images of each other on either side of that fold. Fill these in. And here's where you can get a little creative. It doesn't have to look the same on every row. It doesn't even have to look the same on every side because leaves look different. And these are your leaves. So you can really have fun kind of making this look however you want. I'm skipping lines from some of these just to give it a little bit more dimension. You don't have to, you can do them on every one if you want. But at the end, you're going to want to have something that looks a little bit like this. Does anyone have any questions, Lindsay?
Not at this time.
Okay, great. So we're going to put this one aside and we're going to do our other leaf. And for this one, I'm going to choose brown for my leaf veins. Again, we want to start about an inch up and make our horizontal lines across. And then same thing as the other one, I'm going to start drawing in my vein lines, making sure they go opposite directions across my vertical fold. I'm going to go a little faster on this one since you've already seen me do the other one. But if you need me to slow down at all, you guys just let me know.
I have a few requests for you to go a bit slower.
Absolutely.
People are catching up.
Okay. Okay. So now I have my green leaf. I have my brown leaf. And now these are ready for us to start painting, which is the fun part. So I'm going to take my crayons, I'm going to put them out of the way. We're not going to need the ruler anymore, so you can put that away as well. I'm going to get my paints ready while everyone is catching up. Again, I'm using watercolor paints. If you do not have watercolor, you can use acrylic paints, tempera paints. With those, you're just going to want to make sure that you mix them a little bit with water just to get the consistency to most resemble watercolor. Let me get my water and my brush. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start with green. So if you've ever looked at leaves as they change color, and you can kind of see on my tablecloth here, they're all different shades of green and yellow and red and brown and orange. And that's what makes them so beautiful. And so we don't have to do just one color. If you don't want to do fall colors, you can really do any colors you want. You can do blues or purples. The fun part about watercolor is that it's really easy to mix all of the colors together. So I'm going to start with green. I wet my paintbrush in the water, and then I'm going to get the green, and then I'm just going to start. And you can start really anywhere on the page. What I like to do as well is after I put it on, kind of like to blend it in with a little more water. And you'll notice that because we put the veins with the crayons before, that the water doesn't cover that up because of the waxiness of the crayons. Now I think I'm gonna do a lighter green. So I'm gonna get some more light green. I'm gonna add a little bit more water to my brush. And I'm gonna start this over here. And then my leaf is going to start turning a little yellow. And maybe it has some orange in it too. I'm going to hold this up so that you guys can see a little bit better. But really it's just blending all of these colors in however you want. If you need to add more water, you can to make some of these blendings a little easier or softer. If you want bigger, vibrant colors, then you want to use less water and more paint. I'd love to hear from you guys what colors you're using. So feel free to use the Q&A section to type in what colors you're going to be making your leaves. Some bigger reds. I love red leaves.
Have some green and yellow leaves, blue and purple.
We love that.
Orange.
Now I think I'm going to add some blue too. I like that idea. Even though you don't normally see a lot of blue leaves, blue is my favorite color. So why not add this in?
Have blue, red, and orange together.
Like that.
Red, black, and blue together. Pink and blue. Pink and green and orange. Lots of pretty color combinations.
Love all of those color combinations. Add a little brown, because we do have some brown leaves. A bit more of this orangey color.
We have a lot of people saying that they are copying you. And we have some galaxy color leaves coming in too.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Some galaxy colors coming in.
Ooh, I like that. If you're doing galaxy colors, a fun thing to do after this dries would be to go back with like a white paint and do some splatters on it, and that could make some really good stars. I like that technique. All right, so I think that this looks pretty good. I'm going to hold it up a little bit so you can see the colors all over. And I'm going to put this to the side real quick to dry while we do our other shape leaf. So if you've finished, you can start another one, or if you're still working on yours, this will definitely give you some time to catch up. I liked the idea of blues, so I think for this one, I'm going to do more blue on my leaf. And again, I'm using more water to kind of blend in the paint on the paper. The fun part about watercolors is that they can blend really nicely. Add some purples. Nice and orange over here. Oh, this is kind of like a magenta. I like that. Some reds. So one of the things that you do want to be careful with is putting too much water on the paper. So I know I said you can use water to sort of blend in. Depending on the type of paper, especially if you aren't using watercolor paper, if you add too much, you will start getting some tears in the paper. So if you do notice that, that's not a problem. Go get a paper towel and use that to blot where you're starting to see the tears. Just very gently, and that should help absorb some of that excess water so that you don't have it tear too much. Okay, so here is this leaf. We're pretty much done. This one looks a lot more blue and purple and pink than our other one, but I still love it. And we're gonna set this aside to dry now too. We're gonna bring our other leaf back. Still a little wet, but it's gonna be just fine. I'm gonna put my paintbrush back in my water. I'm gonna close up my paints because we are finished with those. I'm gonna move those out of the way. And so next what we're going to be doing is accordion folding our leaves. So that was one of the reasons why we drew these horizontal lines, just to help guide us as we fold. So I'm going to start with this one, and along this first line is where we're going to make our first fold. And it's important that you fold it under, otherwise you're going to have all of this white part showing when we do our folds. So I'm going to fold this along this line. I'm just going to pinch it a little bit. Along the line. So that it looks like this. Make my good crease. And then I'm going to fold it up for my next fold, again along this second line here. I'm going to keep doing my accordion folds. So that your little leaf should be getting smaller and smaller.
Will this be the same folding technique for the other leaf too?
Yes, it will. So if you did that one and you started on that one first, this will be the exact same. I'm going to pull this back over so that we can see that a little bit better. So here's what it should look like when we're finished, and where all of these little pieces are, we are going to fold this up. Actually, apologize. Fold it this way so that the smooth end is the one in the center, and all of our little accordion fans are the ones on the edge. So I'm going to show that again. So here's the smooth edge of our folded leaf, and that's the one that I'm going to fold up so that it looks like this on our edge. Okay. We're going to do the same to our other leaf. So again, I'm going to start with this line here at the bottom, and I'm going to fold under. And then fold up. And then under. Then up. Make sure you're making those good creases every time with your finger.
And Ashley, you folded under first, correct?
Correct.
For the accordion fold? Perfect.
So here
I have a question about if it would be possible to paint both sides.
Absolutely. I think the nice thing about painting both sides is that you can display the leaf either way. So today, the one that I did earlier, I only painted the one side like I already showed you, and we did the veins on the one side. which means that if I turn it over, it's just a blank piece of paper. So if you wanted to be able to show both sides of the leaf, then I would recommend after you wait for one side to dry, turn it over and do the same process on the other side. So then taking this, again, we're going to take the flat side, so not the side that has all of the accordions, the flat side, and we're going to fold it up. I'm going to pinch it right there, so that you should basically have two leaves now that look like this. Right. So for this next step is where we're going to use our pipe cleaners or chenille stems. Again, I chose ones that are in fall colors to coordinate with my fall leaves. And I'm going to pick green and brown to go with the veins that we drew. You absolutely don't have to. You can do any color you want. And again, if you don't have pipe cleaners or chenille stems, you can use any sort of ribbon or twisty tie, anything like that, and that will help hold it in place. So we're going to put it through the center like this, and we're going to bend it down and then twist it closed. So that you have one long stem. And then we're going to do the same to our other leaf. For this one, I'm going to do green.
Before you do the stem on the other leaf, Ashley, could you show after the accordion fold how you folded it in half again?
Absolutely. So if you have your accordion, one side should look similar to this, where it has all of the veins and everything and the little triangles from the accordion fold. And then the other side should just be flat. So on the side that's just flat, that's where you want to fold it together so that the flat sides meet in the middle, like this. Okay. So then I'm going to take my green. And again, I'm going to put it in the middle so that I have it through the center of my fold. And I'm going to bend it down and then just twisty tie. Now I'm leaving mine long, but if you wanted to make the stem of your leaf shorter, you would just need to take scissors, and again, with your parents' permission, you can use it to cut the leaf stem, however short that you want to make it. Okay, so you should have now leaves that don't really look like leaves yet, that have long stems. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take our glue or tape or any sort of just fixative that you have or adhesive. Glue stick works best for me. It's less messy and it dries faster. And along one side of the inside of the leaf is where you're going to put the glue. And again, that's on the inside of your leaf. And then you're going to put the paper back over it and press it down so that you're gluing those two sides together. I'll show you again on the other one. So again, we're going to put glue on this inside part here. And we're going to press the two sides together press them down really well. Okay. And now this is the fun part. So now this is where we're unfolding our leaf. So where we've done the accordion fan, you can grab on both sides and pull your leaf open. And you're going to be able to see all of the veins that we drew and all of your pretty colors are now the colors of your leaf. Mine's a little flimsy right now just because my paper is still a little damp from when we did the watercolors. But once it dries, it should stick pretty much like this one has. Okay, so now we're going to do the same for our other leaf. Remember, this is
before you start doing that, could you do a slight demonstration again on how to do the twist on the pipe cleaner?
Absolutely. So I'm going to do it. Won't be on the actual leaf, but we'll make it. So if this was our leaf, which it isn't, but just for illustration, you'd put the pipe cleaner through the center of the fold, kind of like if it was a taco and you were putting something in your taco. And then you're going to take each end and fold it in like this. And where they meet, you want to pinch it and then twist it. And then once you have your twist, you just keep twisting the ends. And you can hold on to this part right here. So that they twist together. Like this. Okay. So then for our last leaf, this was the one that looked like a Christmas tree. When we open this one out, this has all of the pretty edges and angles, almost like a maple leaf. I'll hold it up a little bit closer so you guys can see it. So again, since we didn't do the back side, it's blank on one side, but then here you can see all of those pretty veins that we drew and then all of the fun paint. And because we glued it together, it has that nice point at the top. So then here are your leaves. One of the things that you could do is if you make lots of them, you can put the twisty ties together and make almost like a bouquet. You could put them on a wreath, or you could decorate like even this paper plate and you could put them around. Wouldn't that look pretty if all of the leaves were around the whole plate? I think that would look really nice. Lindsay, do we have any other questions?
I think so. There is a link to the written instructions still in the chat, and this video will be up tomorrow at michaels.com/classes. So if you're a little bit behind, you can check those out.
Great. So I'm going to say goodbye then for now. Thank you guys again so much for joining. I had a lot of fun doing this project. Make sure that you share it online with your parents' permission. And if you want to share it, just use the hashtag #MakeItAtMichael's. And I'd love to see all of the leaves that you guys made today. All right, see you guys next time.